Hi everyone and welcome to Season 1, Episode 8 of Reputation Rebuild at Aberdeen with me, the United City FM. So we're taking a break from the Scottish Premiership today and we're playing the Scottish Cup final against Celtic. Really tricky game, one off though, anything can happen. Can we win a bit of silverware in the first season? Let's find out. So before we look at the Scottish Cup final and go through that process, let's just check in with the league and we'll see that we're in third position behind Celtic and Rangers, really far behind them, but that's okay in this first season. We've got a bit of a gap between us and fourth and fifth place ourselves, so we're sitting in third and that's basically where we're going to end this season. We can't lose that position now, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's as good as we could have expected in this first season. And we've made it to a cup final. So that is an absolute added bonus. It's going to be tricky, but it is that one-off game and anything can happen. So we'll have to see how well we can compete. But just before we do, let's just check in with the most recent scores that we've had and how we've got to this point. So you can see that we've had a little bit of an inconsistent time, but that loss in the middle of the last few games that we played was against Rangers, and we only lost 4-3, which is really good. And it was a very late goal for Rangers that won it for them, and we almost managed a draw, but we scored a few goals, which is really positive for us. So moving into next season, it's showing that we're beginning to compete with them a little bit, which is positive. A couple of wins around that. One slightly disappointing draw against Livingston, unfortunately, but I rotated the 11 a little bit because of that third place being secure, and I wanted as many people fit and healthy for the final as I could. And now we get two more games after today's Scottish Cup game against Motherwell and Celtic in the Scottish Premiership to finish off the season. Now, because we're secure in that third position spot, I think what I'm going to do is play today's game in the Scottish Cup final and then call it an end for this particular season. I'll play the last couple of games myself and update you on them at the beginning of next just to show you exactly what happened. But we're secure, as I say, we can't lose our third place spot. So they're a bit sort of dead rubber games really for us. So that's what we're going to do today. Final episode of Season 1 in the Scottish Cup final against Celtic. Let's see how we get on. So the only issue we have with personnel is Hedges is out for the next 3 months. Unfortunately, his season is over, our normal right-sided winger. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully, he'll be fighting fit for the beginning of next season, though. Really hope that he is, but it is quite a nasty injury that he's got. Maguch has got a little bit of a fitness issue, so he comes off of the bench today. But everybody else is fighting fit and ready and raring to go for a cup final against Celtic. So for today's match, we have Lewis in goal, Logan at right back, Hayes at left back, Hobben and Considine in central defence, McCrory, Ferguson and Vertinen in central midfield, McLennan on the right, McGinn on the left and Marquez up top, with a bench of Woods, Devlin, Lee, Dabu, Campbell, Ross and Cambery. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we've gotten with a fairly sort of chilled out team talk, really, not trying to put any pressure on them, just saying good luck, go out there and pull off an upset if you can. We're going in with our 4-3-3 formation. Nothing has changed of our setup in terms of our style of play. Celtic themselves will come with a 4-2-3-1, so we match up pretty well with them. There won't be a lot of space in terms of personnel around the pitch. It's just about all those one-to-one battles and see how we can compete with them. But hopefully we can keep the ball enough and create a few chances and maybe nick a goal somewhere that will cause Celtic a problem or two, and we'll just have to see how we get on after that point. But Celtic with an early opportunity in the first couple of minutes of the game to get a highlight, and we've worked it from left to right, but a good interception there by Hayes at left fullback for us, but unfortunately it didn't stick. We didn't keep the ball when we'd won it, and Celtic regained it straight away, continued with the highlight. They've dropped it into midfield, back out wide left again, working the space very well. Eventually they get a chance for a cross, but we've got a couple of players out there to make it difficult. but we did not make it difficult enough. The cross eventually came in to the top of the 6-yard box, and Corley is there for Celtic, heads it at goal, and it kind of goes underneath the goalkeeper, I think, if we watch the replay. And so that is slightly disappointing, really. I expect the goalkeeper to do a lot better with that one. You can see that it went at him, and he should have been able to parry that one away. Bit of a goalkeeping error, and it was a very early one as well, unfortunately. So Celtic go 1 up, and we've got kind of a bit of an uphill task now, and it was already that to begin with, wasn't it? We'll have to wait and see what the rest of this first half brings, but so far it's been a little bit quieter after that point. You can see in terms of the stats in this top left-hand corner, we haven't achieved a great deal yet. Our possession stats are fairly awful, and we haven't even registered a shot at goal yet. And it's Celtic again with the ball on the next highlight. They've worked it again down this right-hand side to Christie, who's come out wide right to pick up the ball, drops it back into midfield to Corley, and they're playing very nice football. Our shape is good, but at some point we need to get a bit of a foot in and really challenge them. Ball over the top. Eventually it comes to the goalkeeper, parries it away, and this time we can boot it clear. But we are struggling a little bit in this first half. But whilst it's 1-0, I'm just going to keep it this way through till half-time and see if we can reinvigorate them into the early part of the second half. And there is the first half final whistle. So we're 1-0 down at half-time, and you can see that all of the match stats are in Celtic's favour. We're not doing particularly well. So we have to change something up a little bit. So how are we going to do that on this occasion? What we're going to do is we're going to change the mentality from positive into cautious and just try and keep the ball a little bit more before we take any risks putting it through. And if we can play keep ball just a little bit, hopefully that will give us a chance or two at the beginning of this second half. That's all we're going to change just for now. We're going to go into the dressing room, suggest to them, let's see, what can we do? Let's pump the fists and say, we're not doing badly. If anyone continues, no, we can't say we'll win it. That's a bad team talk to give, isn't it? I don't think any of you played as well as you're capable in the first half. Make up for it in the second half. That's the one we want, really. It's got a little bit of anxiety attached to the team, unfortunately. But if we go into the shouts immediately and fire them up at the beginning of this second half and just see if we can keep that ball a little bit. We've started on about 40% possession for this second half. Let's see if we can up that over the course of the second half. A good parry out from the Celtic goalkeeper from a chance though, and Edouard has basically run the entire length of the pitch unattested, and then eventually puts his shot wide, which is really positive for us at the end of it, but some really poor play. The pace that he has, he just destroyed our entire back line, got through us like we were nothing, and that's a bit of a concern. 72 minutes in, the second half is absolutely flying by, and we're not really doing much to challenge them, are we? So we're going to change it up completely now. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the 4-4-2. So we're going to take one of these central midfielders off, and I think we're going to take Vertinen out, and we're going to put Cambry on, and then we're going to move Cambry to play up top alongside Marquez. So we'll do that. And we'll move McCrory into central midfield, but he's picked up a yellow card. I think we're going to take him out as well and put Dabu in to play in that central midfield area alongside Ferguson. We've got a couple of yellow cards at the back and a really poor performance in lots of positions, unfortunately. Both wide men are doing really poorly. Considine at the back has got a yellow card and a really poor rating. Oh, what do we do? Do we defensively secure ourselves, or do we try and push something in the more attacking positions and try and achieve something ourselves at the other end? I think the deciding factor is that McLennan is also really, really poor on his conditioning. He's pretty much exhausted out there. So we're going to take him out, I think. We're going to put Ross in, and then we'll switch Ross and McGinn round, and we'll play McGinn on that slightly weird right hand side where normally he plays left. And then we just make a decision about these two strikers. What I'm going to go for is the target man for Cambry. So we'll go in there on a support role. And then we're going to go for Marquez. We'll go with a poacher, I think, more attacking poacher. So sort of big man, little man type of thing. And we're going to switch it all up and go into route one and change the mentality into positive. just see if we can get anything from the last 15 minutes of the game. So we'll confirm the changes, go back into the game, go into the shouts, demand more from them for the last 15 minutes. And that's kind of my throw of the dice, really. There's not an awful lot more I can do. We'll have to wait and see what happens. 10 minutes to go, and unfortunately, again, it's Celtic with the ball. This time, we get it partially cleared, but they do win it back in midfield, unfortunately. Again, for Celtic, they're just always in the right spots, always winning those loose 50-50 balls. We're not challenging them enough on it, unfortunately. And they get to build up another attempt down the right-hand side. Edouard found himself out there, whips the ball in. Good block. But they get another bite at it. And again, we get in the middle of it. And there's Marquez. A long ball up top to Marquez. Drops it off to Cambry. Drops it back into defence. And then the highlight dies. Just as I thought we were going to get down the other end and have a chance, the highlight goes. But we have got another chance down the right-hand side from a throw-in. And it's more than a chance. The long ball off the throw-in eventually goes through into the box and Marquez runs off of his man. Watch this. Logan takes the throw-in, gets it back from Cambry and then puts a long sweeping ball into the box. And Marquez gets in between two defenders and the goalkeeper, nicks the ball from them and puts it home with a brilliant finish. And that's 1-1, leading with 3 minutes to go. We've got a 1-1 draw. Is it going to go into extra time or is there a sucker punch here? Celtic on the ball, get it to wide right area for Edouard. And again, he has a wayward shot. A couple of wayward shots from him today. And that takes us into extra time. We've managed to get through the 90 minutes, find that equaliser in the 4-4-2 formation. We're going to keep the 4-4-2. Now, the thing that I don't actually know is, because we're in extra time, does that give us an extra substitution that we can make? We'll find that out in a second. So how do we want to move into extra time? I think, let's see. I think we will go for the assistant manager. We're going to be positive. So outstretched arms. No, pump fist, sorry. We're going to say it's time for everyone to dig in and give everything you've got. We deserve to win. Let's go and try and make it happen. And then we'll go into the tactics and see if we can make one more change. We've got a couple of really low ratings, unfortunately. And we've got a yellow card for both of our central defenders. So Considine, if we can change, we'll bring him out and put Devlin in. We can. That's going to do it. We're not going to make any further changes to the tactics, to formations, etc. We're going to leave it there. We're going to go back out and then into extra time and immediately go in and we're going to demand more from them again for the beginning of this first period of extra time. So Celtic on the ball and we give them the space to move up into midfield. And there's our bank of four in midfield beginning the press on them a little bit. They've worked it around the right-hand side, though. Cross comes in, but we do get it partially cleared. Again, though, it drops back into midfield, and it's always a Celtic player there to pick it up. And they've worked it again wide right. Cross again comes in. Good parry from the goalkeeper and booted clear by Hobben eventually. Kind of a little bit tentative at the moment, aren't we? And we're having to work really hard to secure our goal. And Lewis comes out and claims the ball really nicely from that corner kick. So he did his job really well at that point. You can see in terms of the match stats, Celtic have dominated the game in terms of chances at goal big time. But they haven't converted many, have they? And that's the difference. Their XG rating is huge. But somehow they've not managed to find the back of the net more than that one goal. So we've reached half time of extra time. So we'll start the second period of extra time and see if we can go all the way through to penalties. Maybe that's our best chance, the lottery of penalties at the end of the match. But we've cleared the ball right into the left fullback position for Celtic and unattested, they win the ball back very comfortably again. And it's that's caused a little bit of a problem today. We're not quite in the faces enough. And it's proved there. Right-hand side, really long sweeping cross comes in. Edouard at the back post from where the cross came in, taps it into the open net in the bottom corner. And Celtic at 111 minutes into the match go 2-1 up. And that's a real sucker punch, isn't it, really? But it does stem from the fact that we haven't been challenging enough in midfield. Excuse me as I clear my throat there, but... the midfield battle is something that we have not been able to cope with particularly. And eventually, after extra time, 120 minutes of play, Celtic come out on top and win the game 2-1. Disappointing in that respect that we weren't able to quite push them far enough in that latter part of the extra time period. But ultimately, their quality showed through. They had a couple of reasonably good movements of the ball to lead to good chances and a couple of very good finishes from the likes of Edouard in the end. And that's what we don't have, that little bit of quality. We're going to have to hunt really hard for it over the summer on a very tight budget. But that is the intention, is to improve the squad for next season in incremental ways, but also find a decent goal scorer if we can, a little bit of creativity in midfield, and a little bit more steel in the side, just to be able to go and challenge for the ball a bit. I think we did everything that we could in terms of changing the style of play up, changing the formation, changing the personnel here and there where we could. But ultimately, we fell just that little bit short. And today, Celtic win. So there we are. We're back on the home page. You can see that we've got our third place finish secured. We reached the final of the Scottish Cup. We lost out in that extra time period, unfortunately. We have to improve the finances over the summer. There's going to be several players that leave because they're reaching the end of contracts and they're not good enough to keep on if we want to improve this squad, and they're eating into the wage budget. So it's going to be quite a lot of change over the summer, I think, if we can find the right players. But some good things to work from. Defensively, goals conceded, we were very good this season. Goals scored, we need to improve and find a few more. That little bit extra quality. So next season, we're going to have to see if we can close that gap between us and Rangers and Celtic quite considerably. It's going to be tricky, but that's the way it's got to happen. Until then, though, I really appreciate you joining me for this series. I hope you're enjoying it. Next couple of seasons are going to be a lot of fun, I hope, trying to claw that gap closer and see if we can get up amongst them. But the summer's going to be important for that. So come back next episode and I'll check in with you as to exactly how we got on in the summer transfer window and what changes we made. Until then, though, thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots more people. Go and check all the links in the description below to my Twitter, my Discord, the likes, and support me through those if you can. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.